If you could take your seats, please, we're going to get started. Thank you. Once again, good evening and welcome. My name is Alonzo Williams, Community Engagement Coordinator for the Office of Baltimore County Executive Kathy Klausmeier. It is a pleasure to welcome you to this year's 5th Budget Town Hall Series. Having open and honest conversations with the people of Baltimore County about your budget priorities sustains our commitment to the accessible and responsive government that our residents expect and deserve. We strive to build a better Baltimore County together by focusing on sustainable and equitable opportunities for all, and are proud to continue to hold these events with residents and stakeholders as our community's needs are an essential part of the budget planning process. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the entire staff of the Randallstown Community Center for their hospitality and for hosting this event. Tonight we begin our fiscal year 2026 budget discussions here in District 4, hosted by your County Executive, Catherine Klausmeier, and your County Councilman, Julian Jones. We will start off the evening with a few words from Councilman Jones, a welcome from County Executive Klausmeier, along with a few words about projects in District 4, and a budget presentation from Kevin Reed, Director of Baltimore County's Office of Budget and Finance. After Director Reed's presentation, stakeholders and residents will have an opportunity to share their budget-related priorities with an allocated time of 90 seconds at the microphone in the front of the auditorium. The County Executive, Department Heads, and Councilmen will listen to your requests, concerns, and ideas. However, if you share a concern or an issue that needs further attention, we will have a coordinator from the Office of Community Engagement or a designated department representative follow up with you. Tonight's town hall will conclude at 8 o'clock p.m. Those who are unable to provide their testimony in person by that time may submit their request for consideration to the County Executive by emailing baltimorecounty.gov. If you have come with a group, we ask that you designate one spokesperson to share your group's budget priority. Group members are encouraged to stand in support when your priority is being shared. If you have already heard your budget priority shared tonight, we ask that you defer your time so that we can hear as many priorities as possible. And now it is my honor to welcome your 4th District Councilman, Julian Jones.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm your Councilman, Julian Jones, and I would like to welcome everyone to this year's Budget Town Hall meeting. I'd like to start off by thanking County Executive Kathy Klausmeier and her team for coming here this evening to hear our residents of District 4 about the needs of our community. I would also like to thank you for being here to participate in this very important process. We continue to make significant improvements here in our community, and we can only do so with your input and participation. During the last year, we have secured several grocery stores, starting with Grocery Outlet Supermarket on Reisterstown Road at the Old Shoppers, which was vacant for over 15 years. We secured a Walmart and a storage facility at the Old Frank's Nursery and Craft, which was vacant on Reisterstown Road for about 20 years. We secured a Lidl at the shopping center on Reisterstown and Franklin. And we have a Rural Farms and a grocery outlet coming in at the Old Giant down here at Milford Mill. We have secured a major retailer called Floor and Decor at the Old Lyons Brothers on Reisterstown Road. And of course, we are in the process of building a new Randallstown Library and Community Center at the vacant Shoppers down the street. Yeah, that's worth a clap. We are building a new Deer Park Elementary School. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are standing up the Liberty Road Commercial Development Organization and the West Side Redevelopment Authority to assist in redevelopment and improvements in our community. And soon you will be hearing about some facade improvements that will be going out. I continue to focus on growing our economy by producing good jobs and growing businesses. I continue to work with the schools and local principals and teachers and parents to make sure our children are receiving the very best education. I continue to work hard to provide additional housing choices in our community. And there is much more work to be done. One second. But to be very clear, my commitment to our community remains steadfast. We're going to continue to grow our local economy by creating jobs and supporting small businesses. We'll continue to strengthen our schools by working closely with principals and teachers and children, making sure they receive the very highest quality education. We'll expand housing options by collaborating with stakeholders to provide affordable and accessible living choices in our community. Yet, all of that said, there's still more work to be done. And that's why we are here tonight, because your voice matters. Your tax dollars should reflect the priorities of this community, and your input will help us shape the future of District 4. So again, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your engagement and for your commitment to making our district the very best it can be. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and working together to continue building a stronger and more vibrant community. This vision between you and I will continue to make our community stronger. So thank you very much for being here, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you. Thank you. And next, it is with my honor that I would like to welcome our county executive, Ms. Kathy Klausmeier. For those that may not know, Kathy Klausmeier has a long and distinguished career here and presence here in Baltimore County that spans back 30 years? 30 years as a delegate and a state senator, and she has been constantly present in so many things here in Baltimore County. So we are very happy to welcome her here to District 4 and very happy to see her as our county executive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And before we start, I was sitting here just glancing up and listening to every word he said, but I was looking at the flag, and I thought it'd be well worth our time just to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Got to change my glasses. So good to see all. I tell you, I think you have more people in here than any of the other town hall meetings. You should, hey, there you go. So before I start, I just want to say we have Councilman Izzy Patoka in the back of the room there. So It's great. It's a great thing when you have councilmen come from all over to just to hear what people are saying all over the place. So good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be here with Councilman Julian Jones, who is a great partner and leader on the County Council. I also want to thank the Randallstown Community Center for allowing us to use this beautiful space, which it is beautiful, 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 as well as our Recreation and Parks team led by Director Bob Smith. Bob, you want to stand up and wave to everyone? For Parks and Rec for managing this wonderful facility. I'm proud to be joined by our Administrative Officer, DeAndrea Walker, as well as county departments, almost all of whom are represented by directors or deputies. Most of all, thank you to everyone who made this trip to join us and be part of the county's future. Before we talk about how our budget works, I want to take just a few minutes to talk about the historic investments we've made across Baltimore County, especially here in District 4. But one other thing is I want all of our department heads and deputies, please stand up and turn around. And I do this because each one of them works hard and does a great job. So thank you all very much. The most important investments we can make in our schools and the future of our children are our schools and the future of our children. We have delivered over $239 million for improvements to 15 schools, including $80 million for a replacement of Scotch Branch Elementary School. And Councilman Jones, you took some of my thunder away, but that's okay. We'll reiterate. Over $79 million for a replacement of Deer Park Elementary School, and more than $34 million for new roofs at Church Lane Elementary, Deer Park Middle Magnet School, Milford Mill Academy High School, and Randallstown High Schools. We're also continuing to invest in new efforts and programs that keep our communities and residents safe. We've delivered over $18 million for a new police operations support complex in Reisterstown that is currently under construction and will house our traffic management section, police K-9 unit, and tactical unit. In addition, we provided more than $600,000 for improvements to the Franklin Police Station and the Randallstown Fire Station. We know that every resident deserves access to life-changing recreation and art opportunities, which is why we have delivered more than $5.7 million in funding for recreation spaces and parks in District 4, including over $3 million for the Northwest Regional Splash Pad and more than $2.6 million to revitalize Rockdale Park. To keep creating opportunities for the public, we're continuing to invest in a future Baltimore County Library and Recreation Center at 8212 Liberty Road. This project is currently in the design phase with $10 million in Baltimore County funding and $31 million in state funds, thanks to the advocacy of Speaker Adrian Jones. We're also continuing to invest in art opportunities for the residents with funding for open space arts in Reisterstown, as well as $120,000 for a forthcoming public art installation at the corner of Milford Mill and Liberty Roads. We're proud that this site will be home to a new grocery outlet that will connect this community with high-quality, fresh, and healthy food options. Lastly, we want to continue to do everything we can to support and champion our workforce. Baltimore County, is home to more than 1,300 federal civilian jobs with numerous federal work establishments, contractors, and nonprofit groups who rely on federal funds. For any federal employee, civil servant, contractor, or employer who has recently been affected by decisions at the federal level, Baltimore County is here to support you with the job opportunities, workshops, and resources for housing, food, child care, and more. You can scan the code, follow the link on our slide for more information, or visit one of our representatives to learn more about these resources. We are continuing to invest in our District 4 communities and across Baltimore County. However, we are also entering into uncertain times. It's an uncertain budget season with looming cuts at the state level and a new federal administration. We're all feeling a little like a pinch. This uncertainty means that we're facing challenges to continue funding ongoing programs and new initiatives. We're proud of what we've delivered, but we want to continue painting a realistic picture of challenges we're facing and the difficult decisions we will need to make. We are committed to working with our partners, our department directors, and leaders like Councilman Jones to present a balanced budget and continue investing in our county's future. With that in mind, we're still facing uncertain times. It's kind of like the word of the month, or the past 2 months, but it is uncertain times. I'd like to welcome Director Kevin Reed from the Office of Budget and Finance to show us how we build our budget. And here's Kevin.
Thank you, Madam County Executive, and thank you, District 4 residents, for all being here tonight and taking a part in this process. And it's really important, as Councilman Jones said, to hear from the residents as we build out this budget in, as the County Executive said, a very uncertain time. And before we get into kind of the challenges we have, I just wanted to kind of give a background on Local Government Budget 101 for Baltimore County. We have two budgets. One is our operating budget. It's a $4.6 billion program, and when you look at the revenue, about half of this comes from real property taxes that we pay and income taxes. But I want everyone to pay attention to the up on the top right there, the 9% in federal aid in red, and that's something that is about $400 million for Baltimore County government. That includes the school system and the community college, and that's something that we're meeting weekly on at this point to ensure that we are getting reimbursed for the money that we have coming into these various grants, but that is a part of the pie that we're very concerned with at this point. When you look at where the funding goes, again, over half of local tax dollars go to our public school system, our community college, and our libraries. We also have a large almost 15% of our costs are for our pensions, our debt service that we pay on debt, and 11% for public safety. A very small component is 3.6%. Are folks like me, that's general government. So we, and the folks like the department heads sitting out here. When you have our capital budget, it's a $3.1 billion 5-year capital program. And our revenue that comes in, a little less than half, is from the user and water and sewer fees that we all pay in our tax bills. That's called the Metropolitan District. 38% is general obligation bonds, and this is money that we borrow to fund ongoing one-time capital projects. And again, the revenue, the little under 7% is cash, and that's called pay-go funding. That when we have surplus cash available, we try to increase that slice of the pie so that we can lower the debt portion that you see. When we look at where the money goes, equal amount comes in and comes out. The Metro District is self-sustaining. That is a joint with the Baltimore City. About a quarter of our capital budget does go to the school system. We were fortunate 2 years ago to receive American Rescue Plan funding. We received $161 million. We are very proud that we are 100% allocated at this point. That means that all the money is obligated for specific projects to be built out. We have 2 years by law to spend and complete on these projects. We are also, we spend a lot of effort and time, and we're very diligent in not creating ongoing spending costs as related to American Rescue Plan that a lot of other governments have found themselves into. So when this funding expires, the programs that are one-time will most likely end with it. When we talk about building the budget for FY26, 5 things to hit on. The balance must be budget. Just like the state, we must have a balanced budget on July 1 and ending on June 30th. We must maintain a rainy day fund minimum of 10%. We try to adhere to the spending affordability guidelines. That is a guideline we'll talk about in a minute. And we're here tonight listening to the community members and the residents to reflect on the needs that you find important in this budget, and especially during this challenging time. And then finally, fiscal sustainability. And that's really important. Are the decisions that we're making today, are they going to be sustainable in the long term? It would be great to give enormous raises to all of our hardworking public sector folks, but it would be very good to be taking that back in future years. So we're trying to create an environment that we're sustainable in. I want to talk about Spending Affordability Committee really quick. This is a committee formed by the council, and that it really does set a limit on what ongoing costs are allowed to continue in the future years, and it's based on personal income. And when we look at where we were for FY25, this is the current year that we're in, the Spending Affordability Committee allowed a 4.3%, 6% growth rate. That equated to about $118 million. Again, that seems like a lot of money, but we're dealing with a $4 billion, $4.6 billion all funds budget and almost a $3 billion general fund budget. When we look at where that funding went to, we can see that over 31% went to our public school system. 18% went to salary increases for our hardworking public safety professionals and other government employees, and then other mandatory costs and retiree benefits and other growth. When we look at other growth, these are some of the increases that made up that 20% for these various initiatives that we have ongoing. So the challenges ahead, we have a new federal administration, as Madam CE mentioned, and we're, I haven't read the news in an hour, but we're dealing with a rapidly changing environment and a shifting environment that is going to be challenging to meet whatever happens coming out of that. We know that 10% of Maryland wages come from federal employees, and that's something that can be a trickle-down effect and will be a trickle-down effect for Baltimore County employees. We also know that the state is dealing with a $3.3 billion structural deficit, and we do know right now that part of to close that deficit is passing on costs to localities, and the cost of Baltimore County at this time is about $20 million, and these are teacher pension costs that they plan to pass on to the Baltimore County or the localities, as well as fees for assessing properties. For APARPA, we just mentioned, we have our increases for employee health and retiree health care. That gets very expensive in the environment that we're in. And we mentioned the spending affordability guideline, and that's all within our operating budget. When we look at our capital budget, the impact of inflation and labor is making materials and projects more expensive. And the tariff situation that is ever evolving is not going to help. What this is going to do is make materials much more expensive, and it's going to greatly impact the capital budget that we're building out and how we plan in the future. So keeping those existing capital projects on schedule, on time, and on budget will continue to be a challenge that we are going to work through. And at this time, if you look at the bottom right, we really have reached the maximum borrowing limits that we have available to us. If you all voted in November, there were referendum questions that all passed, and that allowed us to borrow more money. And again, as referenced on the prior slide, when we have cash, we will try to use cash. But at this point, our borrowing has really maxed out. When we look at where we are in sketching out the FY26 budget, this slide really outlines kind of the quandary we're in. Our total requests are about a little shy of $190 million. That doesn't include the teacher pension shifts that I just mentioned. That's what we know as of now, because that's not finished. And what we think we have, based on revenue and our spending affordability guideline, is about $127 million. So you can see that gap that we have to deal with is about a $62 million gap that we're going to have to close to submit a balanced budget to the county council. Again, to talk about capital, we have a very old mix of buildings that are requiring major maintenance needs. We have immense road and infrastructure projects, and we also have some critical public safety infrastructure projects that we need to continue. It's about $3 billion in needs that when we do our long-term capital planning that we think we're going to need for Baltimore County, and that's going to be the challenge on what and how we prioritize that. So what we know is we will submit a balanced budget. In a few short weeks, we'll be submitting this budget. We are committed to maintaining our AAA bond rating. We are very pleased to announce that as of last week, we were reaffirmed with all three major rating agencies for our AAA bond rating with stable outlooks. There we go. It's exciting. And that's important. It's only 51 counties in the country. It's about 2% of counties in the country have this distinction, and that allows us to borrow money at the cheapest rates possible. It's like having great credit. So it's good for all the taxpayers, and it allows us, when we do have to borrow for one-time projects, to do it very inexpensively. And we're preparing for tough decisions that are rapidly evolving, but in this climate that we're in. If we look at our timeline, we're currently having our town hall meetings. The county executives will submit her budget submission on Friday, April 11th to the council, and the council will review it during the months of April and May, and they will hold public hearings on that as well, so you can also share your input. And we will have council approval at the end of May, and then the fiscal year begins on July 1. So with that, I really appreciate everybody's time, and look forward to hearing from everybody. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Catherine Yu with the County Executive's Office of Community Engagement. Thank you, County Executive Klausmeier and Director Reed. It is now time for you to share your budget priorities with the County Executive. Each person will have 90 seconds to speak. If you are here with a group, only one member should speak. Other members are welcome to stand and show support. If you have heard your priority presented, please defer to others who have not had an opportunity to speak. The town hall will end at exactly 8 p.m. If you do not have an opportunity to speak, you may email your statement to the county executive at townhall@baltimorecounty.md.gov.
Hello, my name is Daniel Bollinger. I retired after 31 and a half years in the Baltimore County Fire Department. I'm a 45-year active volunteer. Spent many of those years as a chief officer. I'm currently the president of the Glendon Volunteer Fire Department. As financial times are very difficult, the volunteer fire service funding is crucial to our success. We recently signed a contract to replace our 28-year-old ladder truck. When we purchased our truck in 1997, the life expectancy was 20 years. That was extended to 25. Due to financial constraints, we have kept our truck for an additional 3 years. By the time our new truck arrives, our unit will be 30 years old. This is unheard of and on the verge of being unsafe. The truck provides crucial service to the citizens in the Northwest Corridor. It is only one of 12 trucks in the county, 5 of which are operated by volunteers. The amount of funding that is available for volunteer companies is lacking immensely. If we do not fix this problem, the citizens will permanently lose specialty services that can make a critical difference in saving lives and property. I'm asking the administration to look at changing financial requirements, make it sustainable to replace these major pieces of apparatus. The Baltimore County Volunteer Firefighters Association Loan Fund can supply 75% of the cost of their ladder trucks, which is around $2 million. We still have to come up with 25% of that down payment to secure that loan. That's a huge number. We're asking you to allow the fund to decrease required down payment from 25% to 20%. That would decrease the down payment on the truck by about $100,000.
Hi, I'm Mary Molinaro, representing Reisterstown Main Street, and tonight I would like to talk basically about 3 projects. The first one is the development of Woodley Avenue Park. This space has the potential to become a vital community asset, providing much-needed green space and recreational opportunities for residents. We're working in partnership with the Baltimore County Recreation and Parks to develop a vision for the space, and we're even prepared to repurpose $100,000 in capital funding we have been awarded to help make this a reality. However, to move forward, we need the county's financial support included in this year's budget to begin the design and planning phase. Also, we're asking for an increase in the funding for Reisterstown Main Street. Our revitalization efforts are growing, and with more projects, including Woodley Avenue Park, business facade improvements, public art, programs and campaigns, and new development opportunities, our need for dedicated oversight has increased. Streetscape, providing safety, accessibility, and a welcoming atmosphere for residents, businesses, and visitors. Almost made it. Thank you.
Oh, she dropped something. Good evening, Councilmember Julian Jones, County Executive Klausmeier, and community members. My name is Makita Scott, and I am a resident of Owings Mills and a member of the Baltimore County Equity Council for Baltimore County Public Schools. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight about budget priorities that impact families across the 4th District. The 4th District is one of the most diverse in Baltimore County, encompassing areas like Owings Mills, Randallstown, and Woodlawn. While our community is growing, many of our schools remain underfunded, and students in our district, particularly in historically underserved neighborhoods, lack access to the same resources as their peers elsewhere. We must ensure adequate funding for Baltimore County Public Schools to address infrastructure improvements, special education services, mental health support, and teacher retention so that every child, regardless of their zip code, has the opportunity to succeed. Second, we need robust support for working families. Many residents in Owings Mills and throughout the 4th District are balancing work and caregiving responsibilities. We must ensure that businesses and employees have the resources to implement Maryland's paid family and medical leave program effectively so that no one has to choose between their job and caring for their family. Third, child care and early education must remain a priority. Additionally, community development must be a priority as well. We need continued investment in small business support, workforce training, and revitalizing commercial corridors. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Tyler Bluestein. I teach U.S. History at Randallstown High School, and I'm one of many TABCO representatives. I stand with and for my fellow educators who work tirelessly to mold our future generations. We ask for clarification regarding the contract that TABCO, our union, negotiated and that BCPS has agreed to. In the wake of budget constraints at all governmental levels, we fear that even our negotiated contract is in danger and have heard nothing to abate those fears. We ask that you clarify your current thinking on the negotiated salaries of all educators in the county and implore you to preserve our agreement. We also ask that you put our students first, that you help us protect them, even if the threat is our own federal government. We can and must resist. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Penelope Huff, and I'm a volunteer and a board member with CASA of Baltimore County. CASA is an acronym for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and we are a nonprofit that works one-on-one with children in the foster care system. First, I would like to thank you for your continued support, and today I'm here to ask you to fund a vital position of a youth engagement specialist who would work with our older youth to help them age out of foster care successfully. Let's address the stark reality. These kids find themselves in foster care through no fault of their own. They've been removed from their homes due to circumstances such as abuse, neglect, addiction, and imprisonment. I would argue that they are the most vulnerable segment in our society today. CASA is actually written into Maryland law, so it is the only nonprofit authorized to provide individual support and advocacy within the child welfare system. We work together with the Department of Social Services and the courts, but we are a separate entity, and as such, we can provide the support an overburdened child welfare system simply can't. Tonight, I implore you to consider funding a youth engagement specialist. Older foster youth face the daunting challenge of transitioning to adulthood without the safety net of loving parents and a family. Without intervention, they are at a higher risk for homelessness, entanglement in the criminal justice system, teen pregnancy, and unemployment. Not only is this a dismal future for them, but you could certainly argue that it will also impact the county as well. Thank you for your consideration.
Hello, my name is Susan Bollinger. I am the president of the Baltimore County Volunteer Firefighters Association. I represent the 29 fire, EMS, and rescue companies in Baltimore County. We need your help, and the time to help is now. You have heard me talk at every town hall about how our budget has increased 14% while inflation has increased 23%, how emergency medical service calls have increased 36% with a 6% increase in EMS funding. Since 2015, our EMS budget has actually decreased. We have not added any money to our loan fund in 7 years while the cost of apparatus has doubled. We have 6 engines and 2 trucks that are past their extended life and will cost over $10 million to replace. Every year we fight to replace 4 medic units. This year they will cost $2.2 million and we only have $1 million allocated. Since 2016, our fleet has decreased by 31 major pieces. As volunteers, we want to provide the best possible service to our citizens 100% of the time. We know what it is like to do more with less. We know what it's like to juggle the stress of work and family. We juggle work, family, and volunteerism. We see things every day that most people pray they never see in a lifetime. We volunteer in one of the most dangerous and physically demanding professions. The suicide rate in our business is well above the national average, and we do it all with no pay. Why? Because we love our communities and we love what we do. We need to stop adding the stress of having to do it without the correct equipment, fuel, and facilities. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brad Bondroff. I'm a lifelong Baltimore County resident and a firefighter at the Owings Mills Volunteer Fire Company. Tonight, I urge your support in reviving the Baltimore County Emergency Services Training Program. This initiative allows high school juniors and seniors to spend part of their day training for careers in emergency services. But they must also join a local volunteer fire station. In just 1 year, they graduate as certified EMTs, firefighters, and other critical roles. Why is this both critical and urgent? It's critical because it provides high school graduates with a direct, higher-ready career path rarely found in other disciplines. And it's urgent for our community. Volunteer numbers are at record lows, and this program creates a pipeline of trained responders. Last year, each emergency response by a volunteer station cost the county $221, less than half of the cost of a career response at $489. More volunteers means faster response times, lower costs, and more lives and property saved. Over the past year, I've worked with BCPS, the County Fire Department, BCVFA, and MIFRE. The main hurdle, student transportation funding, has now been solved. I'm proud to share that Woodlawn Motor Coach has agreed to donate transportation services for the entire first year for all students, eliminating all costs to the county.
Hello, my name's Kathy Wolfson, and I'm representing the Greater Patapsco Community Association, which is located roughly outside the Ertl all the way to Patapsco River in District 4. First of all, I'd like to thank Bob Smith and the Department of Rec and Parks for the beautiful completion, finally, of the Diamond Ridge Family Park. It is beautiful. I'm here to support full funding of land preservation budget. We need to preserve our forest and farmlands, and there is much pressure to expand the Ertl to accommodate development, and that will only relieve developers from redeveloping aging communities such as Randallstown and Windsor Mill. And my mantra is go up, not out. The library, it's my understanding that the library is only funded 33%. The library needs to be fully funded. Randallstown deserves and is entitled to a state-of-the-art facility.
Good evening, Madam County Executive Klausmeier, County Councilman Julian Jones. My name is Danny Blount, and I have the honor to represent District 4 on the Baltimore County Commission for Veterans Affairs. See the lovely shirt I have on? As you may know, our county has the third highest veterans population in Maryland, with over 42,000 veterans calling Baltimore County home. Our commission mission is to advocate for those veterans and their families and connect them to resources through education and outreach. Since the commission restarted in 2023, we have assisted scores of veterans in that endeavor. This year, I ask for your support as the commission focuses on these important initiatives. 1, continue to support for our crisis intercept map implementation, which will help our governmental and external partners support veterans in crisis. 2, continue funding the now 3rd annual Veterans Day Celebration Resource Fair at Towson State University, as well as a small stipend to help with out-of-pocket costs. Thirdly, support for Veterans Treatment Court, which will help our veterans community suffering with PTSD, TBIs, and more navigate the legal system and emphasize on treatment. Thank you.
Danny, I just have one question. When is the Veterans ceremony at Towson University? Do you have a date?
Yes, that's always in November. It's around Veterans Day.
What?
In November.
Veterans Day?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
For your service.
Good evening. My name is Ann Jones, and thank you very much. I imagine that when you stepped into this, you didn't quite know what the budget situation would look like now. It's got all of our tongues tied. I do land preservation work, and I've had the privilege of doing that in Baltimore County for about the last 25 years. Baltimore County has done a remarkable job of working with the available state programs, the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation, the Rural Legacy Program, and other programs to put a relatively small portion of the budget and have a big bang for your buck. Unfortunately, this year, right now, there is a proposal to totally cut those programs at the state level. So I would just say that it is imperative that the county keep up its support of those programs. Would like to see a minimum of 1% of the county's capital budget going for them, which for that relatively small amount has had a tremendous return on investment. And we talk about sustainability, and these are sustainable in that once you preserve these farms, once you have come up with the parkland, they last for generations to come. So thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it.
I just want to say, first of all, he's going to be reading in his native language, and I will be translating for him.
کمک میکنند تا درباره جدیدشان یاد بگیرند مدرسه موفق شوند برای آینده آماده گیرند.
Where'd you read to? Here? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Habidullah Mohabovi, and I want to tell you about Liberty's Promise, how it's changed my life. When I first came to Baltimore County, everything felt new and confusing. New school, new language, new rules. I wasn't sure how I would fit in or what my future would look like. But then I joined Liberty's Promise, and everything started to make sense.
بسیار از این دانشجو آموزان رویای بزرگ به آمریکا میآیند اما با چالش های روبرو میشوند. یادگیری یک زبان جدید فهمیده روی کار مدرسه احساس ترویج دانش ایجاز های ما وارد عمل میشوند اما با آن دوباره امروز آموزش میدهد مدرسه کاملش میکند از آن برای پیدا کردن کار تحصیلی میکنه.
They helped me understand how school works, taught me about my rights, and even showed me how to look for jobs in colleges. Most importantly, they made me feel like I belonged. There are so many students like me who need the support, but without more funding, not everyone can get the help they deserve. If we invest in more nonprofits, and we are investing in students like me, students who just need a chance to succeed. Thank you.
Good evening, County Executive Klausmeier and Director and Councilman Jones. I just want to say thank you so much for having this opportunity to speak to you. It is Women's History Month, and we've made history, and I'm so glad that you're our county executive. And I am, and the reason why I'm here, I am Sharonda Huffman, and I do live in Essex, but I look at the budget as a holistic approach, and it doesn't just go by districts. I'm going to outline a budget of priorities that should be looked at for the whole county. First of all, we have a lot of issues with helping people with disabilities, especially those persons who are non-elderly disabled. I'm asking that in our budget, it should reflect our values, including making sure we have accessible sidewalks, making sure that we have a focus on looking for accessible housing for persons with disabilities, and also making sure that all of our programming is accessible. And I'm very excited to see this person is doing sign language, but I also want to reflect that we need to look at how we do our presentations, because some people are colorblind, so you have to do things in ADA accessible ways. Also, following DHCD's housing needs study, we must assess the environmental impact of new housing development to ensure sustainable growth. Our budget needs to address the housing crisis. Next, public safety remains a priority. There should be some training for officers on addressing some domestic violence issues. Recently, in the Rosedale neighborhood, there was a child that was killed. There could be, we need to provide those assistance. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariel Singletary, and thank you for everyone that showed up tonight to make Randallstown, Pikesville, and this whole area a priority. I am on the Liberty Road Board. I'm also on the Valley Brook Community President, and I'm here to support the Recreation Center and the library, state-of-the-art library. Please keep that promise in your budget. So we deserve so much more, but do the best you can to keep it in the budget for us. Thank you.
She's yielded her minutes to me. Good evening, elected officials. My name is Shirley Cathorn, and I'm here representing the Liberty Senior Center building. And we are here because we have space constraints that, despite the regional designation Liberty Senior Center has currently, it is the smallest square footage, and no upgrades have happened comparably to other facilities, and we've been housed there for quite some time. Right now, to illustrate the severity of our space constraints, our center operates with only 4 staff members, but relies heavily on 63 volunteers, many of whom are in the audience right now. Our total membership has grown from 1,346 from this time last year as compared to enrollment actively of 1,608. We have 4 classrooms to provide classes and currently offer over 48 classes, 40 of which is housed and maximized in our building up the road, and the other 8 are down here because we have run out of space. We are respectfully asking that the trajectory planning occur, setting aside $20,000 for us to begin this year and subsequent years until we're able to move into a new building. In the interim, we are asking to either build another level on the Liberty and Rolling Roads or give us the library that's going to be vacant. We respectfully request that, and I thank you for your time.
Good evening, County Executive Klausmeier and Councilman Julian Jones. I live in Owings Mills. I live in Owings Meadows, and there is a proposed roundabout that is supposed to be built right in front of my community. This is at Tollgate Road and Hewitt Farms. And I'm asking that you all try to find another location that would be better suited than to build it right in front of our community. We have about 124 houses in our community of Owings Meadows, and that is the way we get out. So having a roundabout right there will certainly make it very difficult for the people who live directly in that community to get out. Also, as others know, that particularly in Owings Mills and Randallstown, anytime there's some space, someone comes along, a developer, and decides, let's get some more housing going. So we already have that impact because there was a new community built about 2 years ago, right beside our community. And they will have a hard time getting out with a roundabout. People coming off of 795, people trying to get out of their community, and then the people next door trying to get out of their community. And as you well know, that on Tollgate Road and Doefield, we don't even have a light. It's very dangerous there. It's been dangerous for some time because it's very hard to get out carefully. I try to avoid it, but with 795, if people are coming off at 795, they're not going to be able to avoid it. We need a light. We need a light now. But, oh, sorry. I'm sorry, I got carried away.
I think I'm making minutes. Good evening, elected officials. My name is Wallace Lastrom. I'm with the Liberty Senior Center Council, and we currently have no available space for classrooms and additional classes that we are trying to incorporate into our programs. To address these issues, we propose that in addition to funding for furniture, that we be provided with resources and space to accommodate the growing needs that have been expressed by our president. The absolute minimum that we would need is space to provide or to relocate the Medicare unit that's in our current building, have them relocate to another location that will free up space for us to improve our membership, as well as provide additional services to the members that are a part of our council. Additionally, we need funding for sidewalk repairs so that the seniors that are transferring themselves from the parking lot to the Liberty Senior Center will not be stumbling and falling as one did earlier this morning, had to be transported to the hospital via ambulance. So we ask that these things be considered as a priority request for us. It is needed so that our services can be provided in a safe and equitable manner to the citizens of our community. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Linda Dorsey Walker. Good evening, County Executive, Councilman Jones. We all heard several things discussed tonight. One of the things was the need to have proper services for foster care children and a future for them. We heard from volunteer fire department folks, and I have visited years ago every volunteer fire station in Baltimore County as part of a training many years ago. We need to marry that with a third thing I'm going to bring up, the now vacant Job Corps site, which is federally owned. It's now not being utilized. It used to, many years ago, belong to the Jesuit Church, and we have a need to train people for future jobs. We need to have young people trained to become firefighters, beekeepers, code enforcement folks, because the average age for those folks in Baltimore County, we have one of the oldest workforces in the state of Maryland. We need to, before all those people leave, all those code enforcement and firefighters and other folks, we need to get young people trained. Since Job Corps has vacated that site and it is now available, can we please think of a way to repurpose that site to get more volunteer firefighters trained, to get young people to become code enforcers, and all the other various needs that we may have? And one other thing, please expand this center. We need additional changing room space in the aquatic center. Thank you.
Good evening, County Executive Klausmeier. Good evening, County Councilman Jones. And forgive me if I'm missing everything, but I think it's apropos that I come up last because I'd like to advocate for everyone that came up here today for the funding that they request. I am Christina Fitz, and I'm a long-term care owner and manager. I'd like to thank our first responders for everything that you do and all the professionalism and all the risks and everything that you take in order to support me and my community. I'd like to thank the educators because we need the new talent to come out and be the caregivers, those that are going to be taken care of. And quite frankly, those of you that are in this room, not me, you're going to be aging soon. And I just want to let you know that there's going to be space for you at my home. But I want to talk about this because it indirectly impacts our seniors. I operate a patient-centered senior care home, a residential home. And a lot of our providers don't have the education and training that they need, so we need to look at that. Let Baltimore County be the first one to have a center of excellence for those providers. Let's work on the training there. Let's have increased seniors, residents or senior services for our senior center here at Liberty Senior Center, which is amazing, and I bring my residents to the senior center. And let's create a grant program for those providers so that they can understand everything that they need. And I want to thank you, Baltimore County Department of Aging, because you are amazing. And thank you for the subsidies that you provide and help the families. You think it might be going to the providers, but it's going to the families to help subsidize the care that those families need. So I want to end by saying thank you so much for everything that you do, but please give us more grocery stores, more outlets for Main Street on Reisterstown, and give us everything that the first responders, the educators, and everybody that's asking here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes tonight's Budget Town Hall message. On behalf of Baltimore County Executive Kathy Klausmeier, Councilman Jones, and the entire Baltimore County staff, I would like to thank you for coming out tonight and sharing your budget priorities. If you did not have an opportunity to share your priorities with the county executive this evening, you may submit them in writing to her at townhall@baltimorecountymd.gov.
And if you don't mind, let me just thank you all again for coming out. We really.
Thank you too. Have a good night. Yes.
I want to also thank the people that were signing up here, and also thank each and every one of you for coming out. We really appreciate you being here. I'll be here for the rest of the night, so you want to see me, I'll be here. Thank you.
Okay. I saw him grabbing the mic.